Hello, this is Sipamandla Zondi. I am a political scientist and an African historian, and I teach African studies and African Renaissance. I am in this course, the Thabo Mbeki African Leadership Institute, that is focused on deconstructing the African vision. What is it that Africans have been dreaming about for the past, say, 1,000 years? What has changed in the past 500 years of contact with colonialism and imperialism? How has all of this changed how Africans see themselves and how they respond to the opportunities in life generally? How has Africa been remade? How has Africa been seen inside Africa and outside Africa? Why is Africa in the condition that it is in pertaining to how people see it? Why is it seen as a dark continent? Why is it seen as a land of hopelessness and despair? Why is it seen as a place where failure is a symbol of reality? And why is it that though Africa has had huge dreams and have written these dreams down for a long period of time, yet Africa is yet to realize it? So this course helps us to kind of unravel the African dream by at least doing three things. The first thing is identifying the fact that there is an African dream, that Africans have been dreaming, like all human beings in the world, for a better world, for progress, for better health, for better education, for stronger control over the environment, for feeding themselves and feeding others, for making the world a better place. They've always been. And it is this reason, that caused them to resist it when others came to say that they are less than human beings. That is why they resisted being enslaved, shipped elsewhere. That's why they resisted being worked as slaves across the Atlantic. That is why they resisted when colonial powers came into this continent to suppress them, to diminish them, to denigrate their things. That is why they stood up and said no. It was not out of hatred of other people, but it was out of love for themselves and their contribution to the world. The second thing we try to do here is to show that Africans have gone on to build various things in order to demonstrate that. From the ancient temples and huge architectural monuments that now lie in ruins in Timbuktu, in Alexandria, Egypt, in parts of Tunisia, in parts of modern-day Ethiopia, and Great Zimbabwe, Mapungu, and various other places. It was part of their effort to try and translate the dream into something concrete. So we're trying to show that Africans have been trying to do this thing. We're not saying it was perfect. We're not saying they always wanted to do it. We're not saying it was all unison and peaceful and stuff like that. But we're saying there were efforts to improve society, to build stronger states, to build stronger empires, not to dominate others, but to make life for themselves. That Africans have been trying to trade with others, that they trade across the Mediterranean Sea is, for example, behind the very idea of a great Greece, which is the basis for Western civilization. That the trade across the Atlantic, again, and the trade across the Indian Ocean is behind the peopling of these areas like Madagascar, all the way to Indonesia and Southeast Asia by peoples that look like me in Africa. And again, you find those also in South America and the islands of the Atlantic. You're saying even in more recent ages, the building of new states after independence, the building of an African unity were all attempts to translate the vision into reality. The third thing we try to do is to say, what then can we do from now going forward? If we realize that the dream remains deferred and that aspirations remain cast aside, what do we do today in order to build a better Africa? So the course helps us all to unravel all of these things, because though we may think that Africa's problem is shortage of money, though we may think Africa's problem is shortage of resources, of technology and all of those things, the really big challenge Africa faces is in the stage of mind, the paradigm and the mindset. If we can help Africa rethink its history and rethink its present, then Africa can fashion a better future. It's been shown time and time again that when a European, an Asian, an African are in a project, the African loses because of lack of confidence, not lack of skills, not lack of assets. And that confidence was destroyed systematically over centuries. And this cause is an attempt to revive that consciousness. For there's no African Renaissance without a renaissance of an African and their mind.